Chapter 153 Great War Outbreak The Beginning of the Trampling. Every monster on the battle heeded the words of their master Rimuru through their souls, their absolute ruler who has accepted their loyalty and trust. Their hearts were filled with joy and left to their willing impulse. Their magic power was unleashed. As they lived in the town, their magic essence, which were suppressed in consideration of their environment, was unleashed. The surrounding concentration of magic essence went up a level. They no longer fear anything. With that impulse, they dashed towards the battlefield. Gobta signaled his aide with his eyes, beckoned him over. In this battlefield, moving as a group would instead breed danger of being targeted. As the result of observation and discussion, arbitrarily with Wisdom King Raphael, it was concluded that the aim of the tank's main armament was done visually. Thus, if the enemy treated the group as a single monster, their actions would be easily predicted and then aimed at. From now, all squad are permitted to attack freely. Ogre, Wolf, Star, Wolf, Onikin will become the leader and lead the Green Corps. Even while everyone are acting freely, our thought are always linked. So don't forget to cooperate. It's not the time for me to be playing around, Sue. Our Lord is watching us, Sue. Because of that, I can't do an unsightly behavior. I will get serious now, Sue. Looking at Gobta's eyes, the aide realized Gobta's seriousness, the seriousness of his superior that rarely seen. May the fortunes of war with you, so the aide said and immediately issued the command to the army. And note, the original blessing was, which is an encouragement and a blessing for safe returns during the Sengoku era. And then, don't get caught up. General Gobta will going to be serious. The aide didn't forget to say so. The ogre wolves, who were originally joined alongside him, and as Gobta's subordinates, they knows pretty well that Gobta is a genius. His leadership ability was abnormally high, and under Gobta's teaching, everyone's skill progressed abnormally. Not to mention, Gobta's individual combat ability can't be summed up by a single word, genius. Gobta's command ability was completely no good, but such a thing didn't become a problem due to his excellent intuition. In addition, it's to the degree one would think he received suggestions from someone hidden. He make a decision when he sees the chance. If that Gobta concluded that the whole army moving as one was no good, then to disperse might be the correct answer. Also, Gobta with transform demon wolf fusion he got from his unique skill, become my power demon wolf summon. He was strong to the extent that even if the ogre wolves come at him together, they were not a match for him. Because they knew this well, their action was swift. Gobta pushed forward to the enemy line alone. He seen the tank's barrel faces his direction. Well then, it's time to rampage Sue. Transform. In an instant, black fog wrapped Gobta. I've been waiting, Gobta. Let's show our power to Rimuru-sama. To respond Ranga's speech in his mind. Well, show it in a good place, Sue. Let's go, Sue. The intermagic power was unleashed. The black fog that swallowed Gobta disappeared. A single goblin warrior, clad in a black wolf, manifested from it. A humanoid black wolf with two ominous horns protruding. Its black pelt hardened, sending even tank shells bouncing off. When Gobta howled, black lightning pouring down from the sky onto the tank core, creating dazzling light as it clashed with the defense barrier applied to the tank. Observing the situation, Gobta perceived that it has effect on the electric shock effect caused by the lightning strikes. However, it didn't seem that the electric shock-proof ability was perfect, as the lightning seems to give serious damage on the precision machine parts. Gobta laughed. This isn't a big deal, Sue. Well then, let's get started. Gobta ran through the battlefield gleefully, reaching speeds beyond sound. The Empire's tank corps could no longer follow him with naked eyes. The tank corps fell into disarray inside the resounding thunder. And then, well, how far you can follow me, Sue. Dance with wolves, gale demon wolves dance. A black gale dashed through the battlefield, and the tank corps was assailed by destruction caused by its sonic boom. Before long, Before long, the shockwaves became a tornado and it generated tornado storm of ruin, which exceeded storm of ruin. With extremely calculated movement, the enemy force was efficiently annihilated. That was Dance with Wolves, Gobta's dreadful anti-army annihilation technique. One of the battlefield ended in this way. When Gobta began being fearless on the ground, changes also occurred in the sky. For the third corps, led by Gabil, when Gobta began being fearless on the ground, changes also occurred in the sky. For the third corps, led by Gabil, soon after Gabil heard Rimuru's voice, "Hear this, we shall go down the path of Ashura." He declared so, the monsters tightening their expressions simultaneously. Gabil's words continues, "Blue numbers, blue corps. You guys are inexperienced. Therefore, support the battle on the ground. Don't do the impossible, just proceed like the training. However, the numbers of that flying thingy's airship are still. There's no problem. You guys don't need to worry. Display your power freely. It's regrettable that they didn't train for air battle, but it's no use, even if they think about it now." That was the topic for after the war. The blue numbers heeded Gabil's order and left the sky battle stage. Separating from Gabil's command, each one of them supported the ground corps. The momentum of the ground corps would accelerated as they received support from the sky. When Gabil was sure of that, he glared at the front ward of the Empire Army Aerial Legion, Hiryu, who is the ruler of the sky. "It is us. Tempests Hiryu. That's right. For people that defiles our sky, we must get rid of them. This is the order of Rimuru-sama. Everyone, use all of your power. Don't let your ego be swallowed. All right, all members, Dragon Warrior transformation." Oh, the hero responded to Gabil's order, their trump card called Dragon Warrior Transformation. Their fighting power increased tremendously, but so did their ferocity. Because they couldn't suppress the destructive impulse, this ability had been sealed until now. However, Rimuru's order was to reveal all of their power. An order like that, there was no reason to hesitate. Dragon mode, dragon body change. All members of Hiryu unleashed their original power simultaneously. That was the moment when the true combat ability of Tempest's strongest core was released. Dark red muscles swelled instantly, and their outer skin was covered completely with jet black dragon scales. Their stature grew 1.5 times, and their volume and mass increased greatly too. Their offensive power and defensive power, it goes without saying, but it was incomparable to before the transformation. If they lost their sense of self now, then they were nothing but a mere incarnation of power. But they succeeded in keeping their ego in splendidly. This was the moment when a true dragon warrior was born. T and note, I imagined flying pandas. Each person bring down one ship. Can you guys do it? Of course. Alright, let's go for it. The dragon warriors moved simultaneously to Gabil's order. The Empire's treasured aerial fighter legion was already no more than pitiful lumps, because the special effects of the dragon warrior transformation magic has no effect on them. Even natural effect like Megiddo has no effect against them. A barrier that nullified all kind of magic attacks as well as natural effects was generated spontaneously and protected their body. Their energy was strengthened until it can be said to be equal to beyond A rank, EP 40,000 to 60,000. That power exceeded a high rank devil. Besides, as for Gabil, who was originally a strong individual, he transformed into a fierce warrior, boasting an absurd amount of energy and that power. Here I go. Take this, my special move, Tornado Crash, Water Spear, Vortex Strike. The current of air swirled into a vortex. It converged the moisture in the atmosphere at one point, and that big vortex of magic power swallowed one airship whole. The magic power barrier knitted with magic power of more than 100 magicians was broken without any resistance at all. Correction, it sunk the ship instantly. Gabil excitedly. Fwahahaha. Now, let's keep it goes steadily. For those who couldn't even sink a ship, you guys understand what will happen later, right? Said those words to member of Hiryu who stiffened. The surviving airships were already cut down to below 100 ships. It was a situation where several people would not get a prey. At the same time, as they realized it, every member of the Hiryu rushed on towards the airship each one of them aimed for. Major General Faraga was in shock of the spectacle in front of his eyes. Shields were deployed in front of the air fortress in addition to the magic power barrier that was protected it. One of such airship was sunk by a single strike of that monster. It was a rare race called a dragon newt. It seems to possess fighting strength that earned them the nickname humanoid dragon. When there was only 100 ships left in the sky. He had an unpleasant premonition. Suddenly, he received a report from the observation team that the enemy power increased suddenly. Soon after, he felt anxiety of seeing the Wyvern riders withdraw. An abnormality happened. It was more precise to say that the phenomenon was called transformation. The remaining dragon newts displayed fighting power that surpassed the Wyverns, and they came attacking the airship. The airship fired amplified magic, yet it appeared to be completely ineffective. It was as if to say that the magic itself was ineffective. Cool, like there could be such a ridiculous thing. With Magic Canceller, it weakens the monster's strength to move. Using such principle, it's supposed to weaken them, but as the target's movement was too quick, it was not possible to catch them. But to the individual who was supposedly the enemy commander who delivered the first strike, Faraga felt that the effect of the weakening wasn't so significant. He understood that the enemy commander's strength was on a completely different dimension. It would be difficult to stop the movement of that individual if they didn't concentrate the wave of all magic canceller generating devices, or perchance no way is that individual Vildora. Faraga consented to his thought instinctively. I see, he's weakened after the seal was removed, so the rumor said, but to have weakened and transformed to that form. No, on top of that, because he still has such strength, I can't imagine how strong he was before he was sealed. But on the contrary, it will be easy to kill the current him. When Major General Faraga has such a realization and was about to order a concentrated attack. Hey, do you not serve even tea to a guest here? I was thirsty though. A beautiful girl with long bluish purple hair styled as a ponytail had sat on his aide's seat before anyone can notice. She wore a military uniform, making her appearance unbefitting of her age. Where did she come from? No, there's something other than that. Who the hell are you? Hearing Faraga inquire for the girl's identity, his subordinates turned around and noticed the girl. They didn't detect any abnormality inside the ship, and yet that girl was there like it was natural. Who I am, you said? My name is Ultima. I came today to ask about various things. You guys are going to die soon, right? Therefore, before it happens, I want you guys to teach me about various things. The girl said such words with an innocent smile on her face, but Faraga was familiar with the very indescribable feelings he felt from the girl. If he want to compare it, right, it's like when he was facing the high-ranking people with absolute strength of the Emperor Imperial Guards. No, any more than this was imprudent. No way did I feel fear from such a girl. However, it's a fact that this girl was an abnormal existence as she invaded the ship by herself. Major General Faraga pulled out his military sword and took a stand against the girl. Faraga had quite the amount of confidence in his swordsmanship. He was confident that he wouldn't lose even against an active A-rank adventurer. The air around Faraga changed. An invisible thread of tension formed between him and the girl. What do you want to ask? Faraga asked the girl. That girl, Ultima, nods joyfully. The structure of this ship and how to operate it. The war potential in the Empire. Are there any strong individuals? Everything excluding the current attacking core. Well, amongst other things. You don't need to worry because even if you don't talk, I can steal your knowledge on my own. While declared so brazenly, you are an unfortunate fool. The one in front of you is one of such strong individual. Faraga immediately swung down his sword that he raised overhead aiming at the chance when Ultima was talking. A sword skill he often taught his subordinate, a sword slash at the level of a master, a sure kill strike. Not even a devil could avoid it and would be bisected. Then I will ask, starting with you. Eh? He heard a voice from behind. Far from cutting Ultima, who should have sat on the chair, Faraga's sure kill strike couldn't touch her at all as it cut empty air. And the impossible thing was the one who should have sat on the chair in front of him has moved to his rear before he realized. What? When Faraga turned around in a panic, a round mass of something came flying. Splat! It hit the wall, leaving behind a stain. One of the magicians who lost his head had his body collapsed onto the floor, convulsing as if it's still alive. It's not such a big deal. Here comes more. So she said. Ultima kept repeating the act of plucking off heads and then throw it away after touching it for several seconds. The bridge was transformed into hell, died with screams and terror. All hands, use magic counselor. Aim and concentrate it on the demon in front of you. Magicians who fell into panic and terror regained their sanity because Faraga's words. Everyone who's carrying magic counselor radiated it towards Ultima in panic. Oh, is this thing magic counselor? That new weapon, right? That's said to have a tremendous effect on all kinds of monster. But is there any meaning of doing this? Ultima muted the question while tilting her head lovely. Haha, you're done now, bitch. Don't think you can get away by bluffing. Faraga regained his composure and sent a signal to his subordinate. The soldiers pulled out their guns simultaneously and aimed it towards Ultima. Against demons, use the Annihilation Bullet. She is the worst Archdemon class. Don't let your guard down. The soldiers replaced their bullet as Faraga ordered, while the enemy's movement was sealed by Magic Counselor. But, I don't really understand. This thing used theory of disturbing the magic essence and obstructing its existence, isn't it? The effect become big towards a being whose body is composed of magic essence, right? But towards people like me who has received a physical body, isn't this thing meaningless? In addition, this thing may work against low-rank demon, but it's meaningless against high-rank being, because for us, magic occurs naturally when we think about it, just like how it's natural for you guys to breathe. Like so, simultaneously, when she said so, Ultima's figure disappeared, and one of the soldiers lost his head. She moved instantly and shown how she murdered a soldier. So, I merely moved and the person's head was sent flying. In your way of speaking, I moved exceeding the speed of sound, right? But why were there no shockwaves? But why were there no shockwaves? Because this movement is magic. And then she lightly shook her wrist, and it seemed to be blurred for a moment after. Immediately following was bam! Together with the impact sound, a soldier's head exploded. This way, according to the physics law, I can even send out the shock wave like so. Faraga's mind was finally able to comprehend Ultima's words. She explained with such mysterious feeling, as if she spoke foreign words of a foreign country far away. Of a country far away. His instinct refused to understand. Archdemon, is this what they're really like? Thinking based on his ability, even if he couldn't win against an Archdemon, he thought he could at least stall for time. If there were several people with his abilities, then it's not an unbeatable enemy. But there was no chance of victory even if he struggled so hard against the girl in front of him. Monster. The soldiers and magicians were falling into a complete panic state because there stood an existence that embodied death itself. It could be said that the reaction was natural. Well then, now I shall resume the questioning. That was the last words those people who fell into terror heard. The voice of a girl who said it cheerfully. Several minutes later, Ultima, who had stole all their knowledge, left the bridge satisfied. She was an intelligence officer. It was her duty to take the information back. She thought that the results were satisfactory, but it was judged by her, but by her superior. And then when she was about to jump out from the ship, oh, right, we're permitted to use our full strength. She muttered, so as she remembered about it and invoked one magic. Immediately after Ultima had jumped, the magic was activated, and the ship was engulfed in a fireball. It was a type of nuclear strike magic, nuclear flame of destruction, that completely leaving no trace behind. The fireball swelled up greatly, and it caused an explosion with a flame of super high temperature as the first wave of damage, and the shock waves of the explosion that followed was the second wave. The ship exploded and scattered at all directions due to the flames. The ship's body became shrapnel that penetrated nearby ships. The shrapnel flew at beyond supersonic speed, increasing the damage inflicted. A large disaster occurred in the air, but the damage calculated towards the member of Hiryu was zero. Well, as some people couldn't achieve their assignment. There would be some people who suffered indirect damage later, though. Such a thing was not something that had nothing to do with Ultima. Due to this large explosion, the battle was set. The Empire Air Force, which wasn't able to push forward advantageously since the start of the battle, was defeated with the shameful record of having all their ships sunk by the enemy. End of chapter 153.